So then next up is our mouth. Coming down to choose a sprite, choose the paintbrush one more time. Let's call it straight away mouth. And we'll start with the simplest one, which is a simple black oval. So putting the fill back on, but taking, well, we can leave the outline on if we want, doesn't matter actually. Let's draw an oval. And check over here in your stage to see how big that's coming up relative to what you've done already. About that. And it should be about there, of course. Now I've just realized we've forgotten our cheeks, which is very important in the Kawaii style that we're doing here. So we'll come back and we'll do that in a minute. Right, so name that one. Right click and duplicate. For the next mouth, we want the bottom curve here, but we don't want the top. And I find the easiest way to do that is actually with a rectangle. So let's pop a rectangle on here. We're going to get the reshape tool here. Just move each of these in there so we get this kind of parallelogrammy thing happening. But then change those bottom corner ones to curved. And that's going to give us that kind of classic smiley open mouth shape. Just make sure they're evened up on both sides. For some reason this one is not playing quite the same way as this one. Let's tweak it a bit here. Good enough, good enough. Then, making sure that this is not selected anymore, I want you to choose red and the oval tool. No outline this time. And this is just going to be that kind of tongue bit at the bottom of the mouth. Let's get the select tool and move it down here. And it can just kind of hang slightly outside there. Perfect. We're going to duplicate that one more time. So I'm right clicking. Let's delete it and using only outline and a thickness of 7 again. Let's create the last mouth, which is going to be an unhappy mouth. Reshape tool, select it one more time to create the point in the middle. Bring it up and then drag these points out just to round out. And I'm going to bring these in a touch actually at the bottom here. Perfect. So let's just check our mouths. Wide open, slightly too big. I think I'm going to grab a corner and bring that in a touch. We've got the happy mouth. I'm going to make sure that these are centered. I'm going to also group them because I've got two things together. If I move them later, I don't want them to separate. And we're just lining up the crosses here to make sure they're centered. Perfect. So you can almost animate between them as if they're talking here. And there's our mouth. Oh, we didn't name it. I thought we did. Let's try again. Maybe when I did one of my undos, it undid me naming the mouth. Okay, so we've got our head. Oh, and while we're here, let's just add in the cheeks. So getting the circle tool again, only fill this time. We want fill. We're going to go for like a very light orangey color, I think. Really quite light. And no outline. And all we need to do is draw in. I'm going to copy and paste it here and here. Now they might be slightly too big actually. That's about right. So let's do that one more time. Copy and paste. Put one on one side, one on the other side. Equidistant from the mouth. About the same height. That's looking good. I'm then going to select them both. Here's a trick. Select the one, hold shift, that's the up arrow just above the control key on your keyboards, and then click the other one. Now they're both selected and you can copy and paste onto each of the heads. So the heads come with the cheeks now. Oh look, we've got two heads the same color. How did that happen? Right, let's change it. I'm going to go and choose a purpley color like this. Paint bucket, and there we go. There we go, that should have been how it was already.